What are your top priorities as a candidate for the Select Board?
My top priorities as a candidate for the Select Board are, starting in no particular order, but the big thing on everybody's mind, especially right now, is water infrastructure. The big thing that people see is discolored water. And while we're very fortunate that the vast majority of folks in town don't experience the discolored water, there are some folks that understandably, frustratingly do deal with it on a consistent basis. The reason for this is two main reasons, and it's because of, one, old pipes. There are some old pipes that go back 50, 60, 70, 80 years. And the other big reason is our oldest, highest capacity well has the highest manganese and iron content, which is what drives the color there. And that well is what's relied on more than some of the other wells because it's our highest capacity well. That well goes back about 80 years, 80 or 90 years. It's a very old well. The focus for decades had been just to keep water rates the lowest in the region. And the consequence of that is less planning, less maintenance, and upgrades for our water infrastructure. The planned funding for replacements and upgrades will be through our Water Enterprise Fund, not through the tax levy, so it's tied to water consumption rates. And targeting to keep our lower consumption rates still in the bottom half of the region is going to be our priority, with the highest consumption rates to be middling for the region. And this is going to be accomplished by smart management of capital expenditures and debt structuring to spread out the costs. We also have, with regards to water infrastructure, our Water Infrastructure Master Plan, which is developed by a contracted professional firm with assistance by our town manager and water superintendent, likely ready this fall. We're going to replace up to 5 miles of old pipe per year, where the recommended is typically 2.5 miles, with high impact areas prioritized. Adding new wells to reduce reliance on our oldest, although highest capacity well that has the highest manganese and iron is another thing that's going to be accomplished through that as well. And more productive hydrant flushing techniques to more strategically flush out the excess iron, manganese and iron buildup that takes place there. We also encourage people to use the discolored water form, which is found at the town website on www.pembroke-ma.gov. That helps gather harder data to help drive higher impact, higher priorities in town. You can find that under the DPW section and then Water Department. There's also a great Select Board meeting from December 18th, 2024, where there was a major presentation, discussion, Q&A, and input from some residents. That was recorded and hosted on YouTube by the fine folks here at the local scene, and you can find it by searching YouTube for Pembroke Government Meetings or going to youtube.com/@PembrokeMeetingsLS. Definitely subscribe to stay up to date on town meetings as well. We also want to regain control of our town from 40Bs. We're just under 10% and are likely to meet and exceed this minimum requirement once the already approved 40Bs go in. If so, we would be the only town in the region to regain control of our town from state and unfriendly 40B developments. Last I checked, none of our neighbors and even those towns throughout the South Shore region have achieved the minimum 40B requirement, hence why you're seeing such developments popping up in odd places throughout our region. So folks understand also, affordable housing is not low-income housing. Under 40B, affordable means a household making up to 80% of the area median income. And for our area, the area median income is about $130,000, $140K per year. So that's still a household income of up to $104,000 per year for these units. And once we regain control of our town and zoning from 40B developments after achieving the 10% minimum, we can initiate conversations with builders to create actually friendly 40Bs that serve the town the way that we need and want. We want to target 15% to escape the hamster wheel of always hovering and falling below 10%, which is the problem that towns are having and partly why not many of them have achieved it. We need to fulfill VOTEC needs. No VOTEC options for Pembroke due to lack of available school options, seats, and recent state-imposed impediments to access. We have a potential new impediment no one wants, not VOTEC schools, not towns, not students, parents, really just the state, that want to force replacement of merit-based admission with a lottery admission system instead. Definitely contact your state reps like Kathy Lenatra, Ken Sweezy, and Senator Dylan Fernandez to help address that, make your voice heard. And South Shore VOTEC is really the only regional option to satisfy these needs. It's going to be costly to join, assuming we're accepted as a member town, but it's also going to be very costly not to join by not having any VOTEC option needed by students, needed by labor markets, and needed by current and incoming employers. I wholeheartedly support bringing the vote to whether we join South Shore VOTEC to town meeting and giving the people the opportunity to vote on it. But one way or the other, we need a solution to fill this gap. The public safety building. We have, there was a lot of great work up front by our public safety building committee, members over the course of years to work within a lot of constraints while satisfying the town's needs and potential growth. It's being kept within budget. We do not need to go back to the town for more money, which is good. We've been certifying bidders, and the bid pool looks strong, which generally means a good position for the town. And at the current rate of progress and barring no unforeseen issues, we're likely to break ground in the fall, next spring at the latest. We're going to have to make sure we do regular, informative updates on progress and complete it on time and on budget. And finally, multiple empty buildings in the center. So we already have the old Hatch building empty for years. We need to assess final ownership situation, collaborate with our school district as needed, take action, ideally toward productive use. Town hall's busting at the seams, maybe it's a town hall annex. Council on Aging building is newly empty with opening of new community center. Ongoing review of proposals for its use. There's multiple entities and towns that are interested. And we have a soon-to-be empty old police and fire buildings. The new public safety building is going to replace them. The police station could be part of the town hall annex, and the fire station is likely going to be sold, and we would like to put guardrails around its use. Firehouse Brewery and Pub, anyone?
What challenges do you see as a candidate for the Select Board?
For my top challenges that I foresee as a candidate for the Select Board, number one, change. Change for any reason can be disruptive, and some folks really don't like it when you rock the boat. But I strongly believe that we've made and are continuing to make many positive changes. Not in what drives the character and culture of our town, but in our techniques, our processes, and judgment to best serve it, while working towards ways to protect, if not enhance, what we all love about Pembroke, why so many have decided to stay here, or decided to move here, like myself and my family, who have moved here and planted deep roots here. The next thing I would say is the levels of inflation, really, in managing just our maintenance of effort and operational costs. Those have been a real challenge. It certainly doesn't help that Chapter 90 and Chapter 70 and other state funding has not remotely kept up with inflation due to what I believe are very disjointed state priorities. All our towns are under mounting pressure, and this is reflected in the override proposals that have been sweeping the South Shore. This is unfortunately the environment that we have to work within, but the silver lining is that Pembroke's tight fiscal approach has kept us from needing an override so far, and Pembroke continues to remain in the bottom 40% median tax bills compared to 22 surrounding towns. We do need to continue looking at situations and our processes with a critical eye to better serve the town in this highly constrained environment. We must prioritize our needs before our wants. We cannot be doling out money like it grows on trees to anyone who comes looking for it because it reduces their activities' costs or the expected work that they have to do. There are very real public needs, from our infrastructure to playgrounds to our open spaces to town-owned historical buildings and many more. And finally, in spite of all the politics, the emotions, the social groups, we need to do what's best for the town first and foremost. Folks are sometimes going to disagree on one or many issues, and that's okay. It would be boring, and we'd never move forward if we were all completely lockstep with each other at all times. What's important during disagreement is that we have civil, productive disagreements and in good faith, so we can better understand each other and maybe even change our minds on some things. Calling those we disagree with names like racist, extremist, etc., and trying to destroy the reputation of good people, people who are your neighbors, just because you disagree with them, all for the sake of political expediency, is not the way forward. I know we can do better if we step outside our bubbles and start talking to each other again.
What opportunities do you see as a candidate for the Select Board?
What opportunities I see as a candidate for the Select Board are numerous, but some of the highlights, some of the things that I'm really thinking about are, number one, our new master plan. The last master plan was completed over 20 years ago. It took a lot of work by folks at the time, some of which still thankfully serve on our various boards and committees in town. They made progress on many initiatives. But we were long overdue for an update, as they're really only supposed to serve the town's master plan for a 10 to 15 year period. I served as the vice chair of the Master Plan Collaboration Committee over the course of a year during its development, which included 11 members of the community, some of them as citizens at large, and a majority of them were subject matter experts from our various boards and committees. We worked hard to get massive input from the town through multiple public forums, surveys, comments, and collaboration. The master plan serves as a unifying document to provide continuity and direction for our town government and elected and appointed officials. It was completed last year and you can find it under the Discover Pembroke section of the town website, which is www.pembroke-ma.gov. It's surprisingly readable. I strongly recommend folks grab a coffee or a glass of wine and check it out. You can also find a recent post on my Select Board page with a link to the inaugural episode of A Closer Look from last year by the folks here at the local scene, where I sat with Julie Thompson and did a mid to high level overview and discussed the new master plan. We've already begun actioning it since completing it last year, but we need to keep the momentum going. We need to keep it part of our governing culture and to not just let it sit on a shelf collecting dust. Another one is our Select Board values and action tracker for our goals and priorities. This is found under the Select Board section of the town website, again, www.pembroke-ma.gov. The values are high-level concepts to inform the general direction and expectations on what to strive for in representing ourselves and moving forward culturally in a more unified direction. It's a shift in oversight, messaging, and expectations, and there are absolutely opportunities to better reflect these values, but I do feel like we're identifying opportunities to do so. The action tracker part of it, for our goals and priorities, I pushed for this initiative for months to some resistance, but was happy to find the board ultimately amenable to implementing it. And many of the goals and priorities are things that the Select Board, past and present, and others have talked about in some quality over the years and months and things like that. But putting them in black and white, and in this way helps better maintain visibility, continuity, direction, and accountability. The expectation for the goals and priorities is not to achieve all of the listed goals and priorities within that year. That would be an impossible expectation. It's to keep a rolling mechanism to keep these things moving while assessing their progress on an annual basis. Another thing is the management, protection, investment, and enhancement of our town beaches. We are streamlining and need to continue to streamline the management structures around the town beaches. We need to invest more in our town beaches to enhance and protect them and ensure they're kept clean. And more tools for better beach management, such as considering enhanced patrolling, at least of those beaches that for whatever reason have historically had some issues in the past, and considering avenues like a parking sticker program for non-residents to ensure town residents have priority access while adding another potential revenue stream. Another thing that we're thinking about is shared services and regionalization. Some town positions in our very constrained environment are hard to justify funding alone, but they could be shared with another town or towns. So for example, we've got the animal control officer. We currently share that with Hanover, and that is able to justify part of the cost that they share on the other end of it. And there's been some discussions maybe for like a grant writer to utilize that service. Some IT department or IT director, whether we do that with another town or we share it with the school district, and there's some overlap there, and there might be a way to accomplish that. More regionalization for capital expenditures and services with Plymouth County. For example, pond management, dredging equipment, and services. The town by itself simply cannot afford to, dredge up Furnace Colony Pond, to dredge up Furnace Pond on its own. It would be way too expensive, and we'd only use it, for that purpose at that time. But there's a number of ponds throughout Plymouth County, and those significant capital expenditures could be shared amongst towns in Plymouth County and for the services for them as well. Another thing would be the town hall sign and the town hall kiosk. We need to replace our old town hall sign, and I would like to donate the original to the Pembroke Historical Society, whether they want to keep it in its current state or restore it or something like that, because there's some history there, and there are some folks who feel very strongly about the history associated with that. We need to put the town hall kiosk, which is found behind town hall, back to productive use, and so it adds value for the residents again. Sometimes it's the little things. You need the little wins to kind of get that going, to build momentum and keep moving forward. So those are some of the goals that are on my mind. Thank you for inviting me on. I love what our friends at the local scene do for our towns and how they're doing it. I especially appreciate their newer accommodations to the town, such as moving all live and recorded meetings to YouTube for much quicker and easier access. I think that's really been a huge help for our towns. So for those who don't know me, I moved here in 2019 with my wife, Stephanie, who I've been with for 17 years, and I have 3 children, my eldest, Natalie, my son, Gabriel, and my youngest, Vanessa. My family and I originally came to Pembroke attracted to its open spaces, greenery, great water bodies, and diverse wildlife. We love the low-density suburb feel, low crime, and great public schools, of which all 3 of my children currently attend. As a family of total book nerds, we also quickly fell in love with our Pembroke Public Library, of which my wife, Stephanie, serves as chair on its library board of trustees. Coming from all the concrete, all the noise, the higher density living, and the higher crime, I do not take what we love about Pembroke for granted. I'm an open book, whereas some who run for election appear to be less open about their views and seem to work hard to avoid specifics. I'm very comfortable publicly with my values, with my positions, and I believe very strongly in transparency and open communication with your elected officials. So don't hesitate to visit even my personal page if you're at all curious about me as a person. I want to make it easy to know exactly what you're dealing with me as your selectman, and I don't hide. If you're a Pembroke or neighboring town resident, feel free to send me a friend request, and let's connect, maybe even over a coffee or a beer. As for my professional background, I have many years of experience working in management for businesses both large and small, publicly traded and privately owned, and in various industries from finance and accounting, in construction to supply chain, production control, and data analytics, and medtech and defense and space manufacturing, to information technology as a certified IT technician. As such, I bring to Pembroke an ever-growing set of skills, experiences, and perspectives to the table that few others can. Having worked in the private sector my whole life, I have a special appreciation for what it means to be productive and effective, and I believe very strongly in always seeking opportunities for continuous improvement, not just for myself personally, but for any organization that I work for. Overall, thinking about where we were in 2020 and 2021 versus where we are now, I've helped return what some might call balance to the Board of Selectmen and refocused our priorities back to what the role of town government should be, and once again effectively serving and representing our community. So why did I decide to run for re-election? Well, for one, my family and I have planted deep roots in and throughout our community. Back in 2021, I started to get involved amidst some very controversial times and policies, and after a massive outpouring of encouragement, I decided to step up and be part of the solution. In 2022, I proposed my candidacy for selectman on a bold platform challenging these policies, and I was elected with a 61% supermajority, ensuring some of my main objectives were fulfilled within only a month of serving. Since then, I've gained a lot of knowledge of the details and systems at play since joining the board 3 years ago, and this brings a strong understanding of the town's strengths as well as its many challenges, and I have more experience than before in addressing them effectively. All this and my unique combination of skills, initiative, and what I prefer as a direct approach helps me serve in the best way I know how to make a meaningful difference for our community. And of course, there are ongoing and unfinished goals and projects that we need to see to completion. I've made a lot of progress in my first term, and I'd love the opportunity to build on that momentum. In closing, it has been an honor to serve and represent our community over these past 3 years, and with the town's support, I will continue dedicating myself to working tirelessly to improve our beloved town and address the challenges that we face. Again, I want to protect, if not enhance, what and I think we all love about Pembroke and what makes it great. Know that I will continue to be bold and disrupt where necessary, bring diligence and vision to fill the gaps identified, and always be open to discuss or debate with anyone who reaches out in good faith. So for anyone who might be interested in reaching out, whether you want information or have a suggestion or even a criticism, I invite you to email me at steve.cicotti@townofpembrokemass.org. And if you're on Facebook and want to see or stay up to date on town activities, you can find me very active on my Selectman page by searching for and following Steve Cicotti, Pembroke Selectman. And remember to talk to your friends, talk to your family, and be sure to vote to re-elect Steve Cicotti from May 1st through May 14th for early voting and on May 17th for Election Day. Thank you.